What's going on, Sens fans? Welcome back to another post-game coverage. Jack and I are here together, and here's a familiar face with us again. Justin, welcome back.
How's it going, fellas? How are we doing tonight after a rather
fantastic?
boring
We're
game?
Fantastic.
Terrible, honestly.
I'm looking at the stats right now, and there's one player who's not a minus, not a dash tonight, and it's Ryan Dzingel, new acquisition.
I saw that.
Round of applause.
Yeah, give it up for Ryan. He looked great. I'm not even gonna lie. He didn't look like he skipped a beat. He looks exactly like the player that they traded away 2 years ago, which is awesome.
And he hasn't looked like that since we traded him away.
Which is really weird because they get him for Paquette and Galchenyuk, like basically Paquette for Dzingel.
Yeah.
And he brings that, like, what a difference maker. So that's nice. But boys,
absolutely. I did notice in the first period he was a little slow. Like that first goal, you could arguably say was on him. He was a little late getting back to cover his man. But I mean, the rest of the game, like he did look pretty good all game. Obviously scored a nice goal at the end. I actually saw one tweet. I think it was from Natty, and it said he obviously has been watching the Ottawa Senators play because he knew not to pass it to Connor Brown on that 2-on-1.
Yeah, that was a good one. Man, I've been really trying to pump Matt Murray's tires, but what was this game, 25, 24?
26.
26, so right at the halfway point right now, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this guy, like, he's two different goalies, I swear.
Yeah, I was going to say there's someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone on the broadcast, it might have even been Bruce Garriock, I think it was Bruce Garriock, said that you either get a really good goaltender or a really bad goaltender.
And there's no in between.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just nuts to me that, he can't. And I mean, I'm not going to blame him for all of those goals, but it's the fact that we've seen him bail this team out before, and then he's going and doing this.
Yeah.
Where he didn't make a single, like the shots were 5-4 for Ottawa, but it was 3-1 Calgary.
Yeah.
How does that work? It just doesn't make any sense. And I'm so glad they put DeCord in, even though he was not great either technically. But
yeah, well, I mean, I expect a lot more out of Matt Murray, especially because the other night against Montreal, he got the complete night off. He didn't dress,
Yeah, that's
complete reset. You can kind of expect your number one goalie to come in after having a big rest and show up in a big moment, especially when you're starting a road trip and knowing you struggle on the road. You kind of need your starting goalie to be there for you and make those stops to give your boys some jump, right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know who tweeted it out. I'd love to give credit to it, but there was a picture of Matt Murray's game logs over the past couple of weeks, and they alternate like one for one.
I think it was locked on, like the.
I think it was locked on.
Yeah.
Below 8. There's one game at an 889, but the rest are below an 818 or higher than an 8 or a 940.
Yeah.
There's no in between for him other than that one game.
Tonight was his worst game for sure by far. He's got a whopping .636 save percentage.
Yeah. And
I don't know many Stanley Cup winning teams that have had a goalie with a 63 save percentage.
Yeah.
In the league. Yeah.
And even Joey DeCord, like at times he did look good. Like he made a lot of big saves, but only finished the night with an 833.
I mean, it's tough coming into relief, and you're not expecting him to, But so I was, going back and forth with Justin during the game, and we were talking about, as soon as it got to 5 or 6-1, I guess at this point, and then they make it 6-3. You're like, I think people were tweeting to like the little 2 eye emojis.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe it'll happen again, but. I'll give credit to Marcus Hogberg because in that game against the Leafs, which is cursing us now because every time this team goes down, we're like, oh, they can do it again.
Yeah. But
in that game, he made really key saves during that comeback. But in this, I mean, I'm not saying that they were going to mount a comeback, but DeCord just didn't make the stop when he had to. And it sounds weird to say that in a 6-3 game, but
yeah.
Now, also to be fair, not to say that it wasn't goaltending tonight because the goalies were not great. but our D had trouble closing the gaps. They would give, for example, on the Monahan goal, he had so much time and space, and Zaitsev just let him walk in and take a wrist shot.
Well,
I'm not saying that. Sorry,
it wasn't even Zaitsev though. So like Zaitsev should have stepped up, yeah. But if you're, I keep watching that goal because it's just insane that no one stepped up on him. Monahan skated from pretty much center ice to the hash marks without anyone touching him. So, and he's in the middle of the ice the whole time.
And hardly skates. He glides.
Because he couldn't believe how much space he had. You could tell. So this is where I give Zaitsev the benefit of the doubt, is because Johnny Gaudreau is sneaking in behind, and you can obviously see Monahan's looking for him. We all know he's going there. Coburn has no one behind him, no one on the wing, but Coburn decides, I'm just going to back off. Why is he backing off too? Come and pressure him so that Zaitsev doesn't have to. It just
come to the defense of Braden Coburn. Why the hell is he in the lineup?
Yeah, that's another great one too. And so before the game started, when they tweeted out the lines today, I was more focused on the D pairing because the lines haven't changed, and we'll get to that later because they definitely need to. But the D pairings were Chabot and Zub, which I was ecstatic about. I was really excited because everyone's been wanting to see that since DeMello left. Pretty much, we thought Zub would be the guy. They were not the worst, but they can't stay together at least this season because the next pairing, Goodbranson and Brandstrom had a much better game, I thought, than
I agree.
The one in Montreal because Goodbranson had a lot better game by those standards.
Couldn't have got worse,
honestly. And I thought Brandstrom did too, though. I thought Brandstrom was actually really good tonight.
He was.
But anyways, that Coburn and Zaitsev pairing was arguably the worst D pairing I've seen on this team in the last 3 seasons. It was brutal. And we saw the true Nikita Zaitsev. And I think, if anything, this game proves how good Thomas Chabot has been this season. If you can make Nikita Zaitsev look that comfortable out there, you're doing like way more than $8 million a year. So I think people need to lay off Thomas Chabot a little bit because he hasn't been getting as much love as everyone else on the team. But man, Zaitsev looked brutal with Coburn.
And another thing with Chabot, what people don't realize is that he played 27 minutes tonight. He's playing a lot of important minutes at that, and playing against the top guys. Like, he's not going out there tonight and playing against, I don't even know, like
the bottom of the depth chart for Calgary, anyway.
Yeah, really though. Like, he's out there playing against Monahan, Tkachuk, Gaudreau all the time.
And the thing is too, when you're a defenseman and an offensive defenseman like he is, you need to rely a lot on your forwards, obviously, to create offense. So if he's playing that much, he's not playing with the top guys a lot. He's sharing the ice with Anisimov and Watson more often than anyone else is, other than their line mates, I guess. But I think that he's been a lot better this season, I thought, than last season. But he's just not getting the credit he deserves. And I mean, although he has 1 assist tonight and he's -1 still, but I thought he had a good game, which sounds weird to say.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
This is actually quite interesting from Jammy. Out of Calgary's 29 shots, 16 of them were from the slot, and Murray faced 9 of them in 20 minutes. And that's exactly it. Like, I know you can't keep saying it's not Murray's fault when he lets in. Well, it was at the end of the first. It was 4 goals on 11 shots. But look where those shots are coming from. Like, it's so hard to pick and choose who to fault, and Matt Murray shouldn't be it. Overall. I say let's do it. Let's pick and choose who to fault on the first 4 goals. So first goal for Calgary, it was that 2-on-1, I believe, with when Richie scored. He got that first one. Yeah. So I'm not blaming a goalie for a 2-on-1. That was perfect. It was a perfect play by Calgary. They were behind their net. And then 5 seconds later, it's in the back of ours. Yeah. That's a defensive breakdown. That's Coburn being too far wide. That's Tierney not picking up his guy in the middle. That's just hockey 101, like neutral zone trap. Guy Boucher would have had a fit if he saw that happen. So I'm not blaming Murray on that one. The second one is, again, people in the defensive zone. Norris doesn't pick up Dubé in the slot. Lots of stuff like that. But Murray wasn't even watching the puck. Did you notice that? He was on his goal line and looking towards the point pretty much when it went in. He has to stop that. It doesn't matter if it's a slot shot or not. He's not even facing the puck. And then the third one,
Was the third one the Monahan goal?
The third one was Monahan.
Third one's Monahan. Again, defensive breakdowns. We didn't even talk about Stützle turn it over twice on that shift. He had a brutal night.
He did.
Yeah. Every time he touched the puck, he was turning it over.
Oh, it was awful, which is like it's gonna happen, right? But this is definitely his worst game this season.
I agree.
But so that third goal, yes, Monahan should not have that much space in the slot, but it hit Murray. It hit him, and it still went in. So
did it hit off of his shoulder? Did it go under his arm?
It hit his shoulder and bounced top corner.
Yeah, I think it hit like around where the number is almost, and then it bounced up to the top corner. And again, those are saves we've seen him make. Like his glove side isn't really strong, but we've seen him flash the leather every now and then. So that's frustrating. And the fourth goal was the
Josh Levo.
That he's got to have that one too. Like that's just a shot. He had lots of time to get over and get set. So yeah, not ideal with Coburn and Zaitsev there, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can't let in 4 goals on 11 shots, 3 goals on 5 shots. You can't do that. Just can't happen, especially with this team. They look so good when he's playing great. Yeah, and it's
their
crazy.
confidence stems from him or from whoever has the crease
always.
that night. If we get down early, like we saw it in Edmonton, however long ago, we gave up a goal. What was it? 8 seconds into the game or something?
Yeah,
and it was game over from there. And as soon as Calgary had 2 within the first 3 or 4 minutes, it was like, oh, it's going to be one of those nights. So if we get key saves early, we've proven that we can win games and win games against good teams. I mean, we've taken 2 from the Leafs this year, so it's not like when we don't have solid goaltending, we can't compete.
Yeah, I found it really interesting to see what Mike Riley coming out of the lineup really did to this team. Like, as much as we don't love him here in Ottawa, like he's not necessarily the best defenseman we've ever seen. But he makes some offense that we were kind of lacking from our defense tonight. Like
he found, keep going.
So I noticed a lot that Chabot and Brandstrom were in the corners tonight, which is great from an offensive defenseman. Like pick your battles, and those were good battles for them to pick. But just generally talking about creating offense, I think Riley was missed tonight 100%, and especially in place of Coburn.
I agree, and I think it's just more the chemistry that him and Zub have. Yeah. And it's just the fact that and then not even just that, you take Zaitsev away from Chabot, which I mentioned, that's not ideal. Now we've seen that. Zaitsev's not a new player. He just found comfort with Chabot. Yep. So I hate Mike Riley. I'm just going to say I don't like watching him at all. I think Zub has done wonders for him, but it's because Riley's not trying to do too much anymore, and he doesn't have to, right? You got Brandstrom and Chabot.
25 minutes.
Exactly. Brandstrom and Chabot can be the offensive defenseman. They're the power play guys. Mike Riley can just be responsible with the puck. Yep. So I agree. I do think, though, it's more of the fact that the pairings had to switch so much. Yeah. So you got Zaitsev playing with a guy who's played 1 game the last 10, and then you've got Chabot and Zub who haven't played together before. I feel like mixing up D pairings is more detrimental than mixing up lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the breakout starts on the back end, and if you can't communicate, it's harder to get the puck out of the zone.
Exactly.
And even on odd man rushes coming back the other way, there's a certain comfort and communication that you have with your D partner.
Yeah.
Where it's if you get caught, you can kind of feed off each other and switch in a sense. So when you're comfortable with someone, you don't have to communicate as much. It's just kind of natural, and you understand what the other person's doing.
And we're accustomed to it. We know that what a chemistry can do for a defenseman. Look at Erik Karlsson, right? Yeah. He wins his Norris trophies because Mark Method is there for him, right? And he's comfortable with that pairing. And I think we saw that a lot tonight. So it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward, because no injuries on the back end tonight, but you got to make some changes. So yeah.
It's definitely really interesting to look at the team and the way we just collapsed tonight. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, I'm just more concerned because there's been at least 10 games now where they get down early, and it's not just down, they get down because it's stuff that they're just giving it to the other team. So it's stuff like that where I'm concerned and the longer we go and the more we see this team win games and play well, it's more frustrating that way. The other thing, though, is they are brutal on the road.
That's what I was just about to jump in and say that. Like, I don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's so different. Like, obviously, there's travel, there's hotels, there's a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes that you don't see as a fan. But it's as if when they go on the road, or more so go on the road to the West Coast, they become an AHL team.
Yeah.
And a team that's never played together before. You know, guys are missing passes, falling all over each other, you know. There was no gelling tonight. Everybody just kind of looked flat.
I mean, we've talked a lot about the D, but I don't mind getting into the forwards here a little bit, because last game I mentioned to Jacob that I'd like to see White, Paul, and Dadonov broken up, and for a couple shifts this game they were. But it was a little unfortunate that by mixing up the lines, the only line he doesn't touch is Stützle and Batherson, which is good, but you can't leave the Artie party in the middle of those guys. The Artie party, hey, good for him. He scored. Let's go get a 7th round pick for him at the deadline. This guy I don't know what happened between last season, because last season he was actually good. I think it's just because he doesn't care anymore. And why would you if you keep getting scratched on this team? Like, he's, you know, I can understand why he'd be a little frustrated.
Yeah.
But to go from, let's go back to training camp when no one saw any games, no practices, we didn't get to watch anything. DJ Smith couldn't stop talking about Artem Anisimov. He said that he was the best player in camp, all camp.
Yep.
And then he plays a few games. Everyone's like, DJ, no, he isn't. He's been brutal. And then he sits. He's played like 5 games since.
Yeah.
So now, hey, let's stick him with our 2 most skilled forwards.
Yeah.
And I understand it because I like Norris better with Tkachuk. Yeah. But that White, Paul, and Dadonov line needs to be blown up because they didn't do anything this game, and it's been a good stretch where they haven't done anything. Put Colin White in between those guys.
That's what I was thinking. I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Tierney go between those guys, because Chris Tierney has some offensive upside, but he's also really solid defensively. And where Stützle can lack in the defensive zone, I feel like having a centerman like Chris Tierney who is solid defensively can really help lock that up in the defensive zone. And then they've clearly shown that they can produce with a guy like Artem Anisimov down the middle. So having someone that's even more skilled but better defensively will only be a positive thing. Anything's better than Artem Anisimov, though. Anything.
No, he's just not fun to watch at all this season. Like, the Artie party was a fun thing to tweet about last year, but my God, it's become a sarcastic joke at this point. But I mean, hey, it was a nice shot. Like, I'm not gonna say he doesn't have a bad shot. It's just his release takes years, right? Like, it was a good goal. It was a nice shot, but boy, frustrating player to watch.
It is, and like you said, he just takes so much time making his decisions.
So I'm looking at ice time right now, and I got an interesting one. So forward leader Connor Brown had 12 and a half minutes. Yep. I think that Matthew Tkachuk almost broke his neck.
Yeah, I was amazed that was only 2 minutes.
That was crazy. I was sitting in my basement watching it with my mom, and she was so confused. She was like, "What? Why is he doing that?" But it was just assault.
Well, and it's not even. And like, your mom's right. Why is he doing that? Connor Brown didn't do anything. He just went right for him.
Yeah, he just grabbed him, face washed him.
Yeah, so maybe like there's got to be something else there that we're not seeing, but.
Like, something must have been said or something.
Yeah.
There's, like, of all people, why Connor Brown? He's one of the most defenseless guys on the team. Like,
I know.
He's probably last in line for who's going to drop the gloves, other than maybe, I would say, Stützle. Like,
what? Seriously. I mean, Brady started that scrum, so maybe Matthew was just saying, I can't grab Brady, so I'll just grab the next closest guy, and he ended up manhandling Connor Brown. But boy, if he's injured, that's a big blow up front, because I really like him.
He did play 7 minutes after the first 2 periods. He had about 5 minutes in the first period. So
that's got to be an injury.
Yeah, I would think that that's an injury for sure.
Although there was a good amount of power play time, that could be it too. Not much penalty killing.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
You guys want to talk about the power play?
Talk about what, sorry?
Talk about a momentum killer. Yeah. There's 2 instances in this game. It was 2-0 Calgary, and then Josh Norris gets a scrambly goal on that Matthew Tkachuk assault. Because of the Matthew Tkachuk assault, we get a power play. I'm looking at Natty's comment. No, please don't. But if they score a goal there, it's a 2-2 game. We got a barn burner on our hands, right?
Yep.
You get in Riddick's head a little bit, get him a little off his game.
Thinking about putting his head through another wall.
Exactly. But instead, they get like not even a shot on goal. I don't think they get nothing on that power play.
Yeah,
so
not a shot.
Nothing. So that's one, and then they get a double minor.
Oh my God, that 4-minute power play! We spent the entire time in the neutral zone just passing it back and forth.
Was that in the first period still?
I don't think so. I think
no, that was the second period. Okay. So what happened there was
all I know is it's been back-to-back games with a double minor, and they haven't done anything with either of them.
Yeah, so, that was in the second.
Yeah. So
one thing that I noticed about our power play, though, it wasn't so much in the first and second period, but in the third, DJ switched Stützle and Bathurst.
I saw that. I don't think Timmy's comfortable over there. You can kind of tell with the puck, and I mean, he had he just couldn't. Yeah, everything he touched, everything he touched turned to stone. Like he just couldn't pass the puck. So maybe it's not a good evaluation, but I personally prefer Batherson on his where Stützle is, where Batherson is usually. I think he can make more plays from there. But if they could find another right shot for where Stützle is, I think that'd be probably more effective.
Is this a right shot or a left shot?
He's a left. So, I mean, right shots on this team are on the forwards anyways.
We lose Jacob.
He'll be back. I think this happened last time. The right shots on the team are Batherson, Watson. There he is. Batherson, Watson, Connor Brown, and I'm missing one. It's not a big skill guy. I don't. Well, Dadnall plays right wing, so you got 3 shots up front that are shooting right.
But I mean, Dadnall be parked in the high slot. Austin Watson should not be within 50,000 feet of our power play.
So they're a little handcuffed there. There we go. We got White. I'm forgetting Colin White. Okay, thank you, Natty. Yeah. So forgetting Colin White as well. I don't think he's got a howitzer or anything. So you want a guy that you want not an Ovechkin, but that kind of player, right? Who can just wing it. Yeah. So maybe if Batherson can become more comfortable on the other side, I don't know. That wasn't the problem. I don't mind when they're set up. They weren't on their game tonight because it's just getting into the zone is such a struggle.
Yeah.
They don't win that first face-off. It's at least a minute killed, and then it's like
it's a waste of time for Unit 1.
Man, so I don't know if you guys remember, and if anyone watching, DJ a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, was asked about the drop pass because it was struggling, and he pointed out all the top teams do it, and he's right, they do. You watch Toronto, they drop it back, Matthews and Marner come in, and then they get set up. McDavid and Draisaitl, same thing, whatever. And a lot of it, Calgary did it too tonight. Yep. But the thing with them is that they'll drop it back, and their players that they're dropping it back to already have speed and are already at their own blue line. So they're already in the neutral zone. Shabbat drops it back, and Dadonov and Stützle are dead stopped at the bottom of the face-off circles in the Sens defensive zone. And Dadonov's not a fast skater. Stützle's fast, but he's not going to be that fast from a standstill. What are they doing?
Also, when you do that, you're allowing the Calgary defense to kind of step up a little bit.
Exactly.
And cut you off in the neutral zone. So if you don't come at them with speed, you kind of put them in the driver's seat and allow them to make you react to them as opposed to the opposite.
So I don't hate the drop play, but they need more speed. I would switch Batherson and Dadonov in those situations.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just something's got to change on that because they can't lose a face-off and then subsequently lose a minute and 15 of their power play. So, yeah, it was a big momentum killer tonight. I think Justin's frozen a little bit.
Oh yeah. But yeah, even then, the third period started off with Brett Ritchie getting a high stick on Dzingel. We scored 7 seconds in.
Yeah.
And great. Everybody was like, oh, here it goes. This is 6-3 now at that point.
Yeah, that's when everyone was put. No, I think the Dzingel's goal was 6-3.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we get the power play goal with Brett Ritchie in the box. And immediately after, Josh Norris. Oh, yeah, because that was Anisimov's goal.
Yeah.
And then immediately after we get another penalty, or we get another power play, sorry. And that was one of the worst power plays that we've seen. Like, it was just...
It's just the second time the momentum was killed. And it sucks because it was good, especially against Calgary. That's the team they were having the most success with.
Yeah.
Being against, so on the power play. But that's what's frustrating about games like this is that they don't seem to bring it. Man, it doesn't get any easier. You got Calgary again on Sunday, and then boom, boom, boom. You got Edmonton 3 times in a row in Edmonton. So not ideal.
Not at all.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm actually just seeing on Twitter now, Walter Gretzky has passed away. Wayne Gretzky's father. So that's a very tragic loss in the hockey world, and thoughts and prayers go out to the Gretzky family. So just wanted to give that a quick mention as well.
Yeah, that's not great. That sucks. I saw that right when the game ended.
Yeah.
And man.
Tough loss. But anyway, so do you have an update on Justin?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you have an update on Justin?
He said his computer crashed.
Oh, okay.
So he had to restart everything. So I don't know if I don't really have much else to say. It was pretty much a stinker.
Yeah. Just another thing I wanted to touch on is face-offs. Overall, we were pretty good in the face-offs tonight. Besides Anisimov and Brady, everybody was over 56%. So that's not too bad. It sucks when you have Anisimov taking those face-offs between Stützle and Batherson. But relatively speaking, not that bad in the face-offs.
28% for Come on. Yeah.
2 for 7 there.
Josh Norris, goal and assist, and 64% on the draws.
Yeah. Can't complain at all. Welcome back, Justin.
Sorry about that, fellas. My computer
not a problem.
Died.
Just decided to die on you.
Pretty much. Had to restart it. Took forever.
Nah, not a problem. And but yeah, like Chris Tierney, 60%, Nick Paul, 56%, Colin White, 67%. And one thing I really wanted to mention that I do like about that Paul White Dadonov line is Paul takes the faceoffs on the left-hand circle, so it always goes to the defenseman in the middle on the point. And White always takes the right-hand draws. And I think that works perfectly because Paul has shown that he's taken as many faceoffs as Colin White has this season, to my surprise. And so, yeah, I think that's working really well.
I definitely – it's a good line. It's just they need to spread it out a little bit, and something's got to change.
I agree.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, we can get into third stars now. Justin, now that you're back, you can start us off.
It's kind of hard to pick stars for me tonight. For my third star, I'm going to go with Brady Tkachuk, just because early in the game he was getting in the mix. You know, I think he led the team in hits.
Yeah, 6 hits.
Again.
He had 6 shots. You know, he had an assist on the Norris goal. I think it was just a secondary assist, but you know, in a game where there was really nothing going on his way.
Tkachuk on Norris's goal?
Yeah.
Well, he drove the net and created all the havoc. He just did a Brady Tkachuk move.
Yeah. So he's my third star, and then my second star, I'll go with Josh Norris. You know, I thought other than his goal, I thought he skated really well today. He looked confident when he had the puck on his stick.
Yeah.
But like I said, there was nothing really to write home about today. And then my first star is Ryan Dzingel.
Yeah.
He was, you know, coming out of a 14-day quarantine, didn't expect him to do anything. And, you know, he scored a goal and looked good out there, skated hard and looked good. So, and like you said early off the top, he was the only one that wasn't Dash.
Yeah.
So.
And DJ Smith even came out after the game and said that he was our best player tonight.
Yep, he was. I guess I'll go. I'm gonna go Thomas Chabot, third star, just because more of an overall picture. Not getting enough love from the fan base for everything he brings.
Yeah.
And he got an assist.
Yep.
So that's nice. I'm gonna not say Dzingel because that's obvious. I'm just gonna my third or second star is Brandstrom because he had a rough game in Montreal and he definitely bounced back tonight with an assist. And he was also dash 1, so it means he was on for 2 goals. But he'll learn the defensive game. But he was creating a little bit more offense tonight, which is good. And then I'll go first star. I'll go Norris because I tweeted out before the game and definitely jinxed him because I said that he needs more respect because he's been really responsible in a defensive role and stuff, and the points are going to come. And, he gets a goal and assist tonight, but 2 goals that were probably where he lost his man that could have been on. And I mean, Dubé scored both of them. So, not great, but hey, he put up the points, and in a loss, why not give him the first star?
Absolutely. And again, I seem to always agree with your first star, Jack. So I'll start from the top down like usual. Josh Norris, like you said, and I think the reason he goes kind of under the radar for most people is because he doesn't play like he's a rookie. Like,
no, exactly. That's a good point.
Like even Ottawa fans, like, yeah, we all know Tim Stützle's in the rookie race, but I don't even see Josh Norris's name come up in Ottawa.
It's crazy. I'm gonna look up rookie scoring because he's got to be up there now with Timmy.
I think
he's tied for second with Stützle.
I think they're both top 5 at least, maybe even both top 3. I'm not 100% sure.
They are both top 3.
All right.
But yeah, like, and I mean, having a 24-year-old Kirill Kaprizov who already dominated the KHL isn't nothing to shake a stick at. So
no, I know.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, he's my first star. I'll give my second star to Nick Paul. Nick Paul drove a lot of play tonight, and just he was one of the very few that had legs. And I don't recall him being very defensively liable, and like only a -2 in a 7-goal game, not that bad. Obviously you want to see even or above, but Nick Paul just very, very consistent. So give him a shout out there. And I don't even think I have a third star tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal all around, I guess.
I'll give it to Austin Watson because he played with so much heart all night. At the end of the game, he could have jumped in and, like you said earlier.
Yeah,
Jack,
we didn't even mention that on the stream. I guess,
we didn't. So that hit at the end of the game from Shillington on Tierney.
Classless.
It was clean. It was clean.
It was clean.
But still, there's 10 seconds left in a 7-3 game. Like,
yeah.
So we'll set the stage. Set the stage. Steps up on Tierney, and Austin Watson's out there, and he's a farm animal, right? And he's not shy from just getting in people's faces. Why? I just don't understand what's stopping him. He didn't even. You could see him take a look, and he's like, should I go for it? Yeah. And then he's like, no, I'm not going to. Why?
Like,
why not?
Maybe it's not worth it. It's a 7-3 game. Whatever.
I mean,
let's just
maybe, but that's so warranted. That's so warranted. Like if it was the other way around, we were harping on Calgary for not having any heart and not trying to fight and everything, and the games that Ottawa beat them, and that's kind of an example of it. Like it's not that you're pissed about losing; it's that you're just like you can't make a hit like that with that much time left. You know what I mean? Everyone's just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
So that's just frustrating.
Yeah, fair enough. So
yeah.
Yeah, we can move on to the other side of things. Who's got to be better? There's a big list to choose from here, so pick wisely. You only get one. You want to start, Justin?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll just go with the obvious one. Matt Murray needs to be better.
Nice. Yes.
He's terrible. I find in games where he's good, you can tell by the way he moves laterally in his crease.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know how to describe it because I'm not a goalie coach, nor have I really ever played goalie. So, but his push off and his stops are a lot smoother and more fluent, and he looks like he's always square to the puck. And I find when he has an off night, he turns himself around and he's slow getting side to side. And
agreed.
It looks like once he gives up one or two, he just it's over. Whatever. Yeah. Phone it in. I can't recover. It's just one of those nights, and you just can't have that from your starting goaltender. For me, when I see him have a game like that tonight, it's hard to believe that he won 2 Stanley Cups.
I agree. Yeah. So the thing with him too is I think in the beginning of the year he would have a good game and then let in a soft one. It happened once or twice. And I'm thinking, oh, you know what? You can live with the occasional soft one. Every goalie does it. But you're right. Every time he lets in one quickly or a soft one at any point in the first 10 minutes, it's game over. It's that kind of night. I've tweeted 5 times this year at least. Oh, it's that kind of night again. Okay.
Yeah.
within 5 minutes of a game, which is
You can just
ridiculous.
tell.
Your goalie is like the one anomaly in every sport. There's like the pitcher in baseball, the quarterback in football, and then there's a goalie in hockey. Like no one else plays that position on the ice at the time. So you're that important. You're the only one who does it. And when you don't play well, the team suffers. And it's not like if a winger plays bad, like there's someone else who can replace him.
No one's picking up your slack.
Exactly, and he'll be praised when he plays well, which he is, but he should be held accountable for how terrible he's been, frankly.
Yeah. And in other games, he has come out and said, like when he came in relief against Toronto, he did come out and say to the media, he didn't have to speak to the media, and he went into the media room, was like, you know what, this is on me. I know I came in off the bench, but I need to be better. So I don't think, I think he's holding himself accountable, which is good to see as a fan. Yeah, but it's still very frustrating. When I know we only gave up a second-round pick. But you want to see more from a guy that was supposed to solidify the crease.
I think it's more the contract too. It's more the 4 years, contract. $6.25 million a year. That's the big one because he's the 7th highest paid goalie in the NHL, which is kind of shocking. But he is, right? So I'm thankful he doesn't make $10 million like Carey Price does, because imagine him being this inconsistent, which Price is, and making $10.5 million. But it's a good who needs to be better because he's probably the star of that segment. Let's be real. Every time it's usually him. I'll go with everyone's favorite, Tim Stützle, because this was his worst game by far, and he just needs to. He had a 5-game point streak, 4 or 5 game point streak, and he's pointless in 2. But it's not even that. It's just every time the puck was on his stick, it ended up on a Calgary stick. So.
To me, tonight, he looked really unsure of himself, which we haven't seen since really ever.
It's weird.
He's had a couple bad shifts, but he's been pretty consistent where, you could tell he belongs. Mm-hmm. Tonight, it looked like he didn't feel like he belonged and was just trying to get the puck off his stick and, trying to force things where it didn't need to be. Maybe it's the jet lag. I don't know, but it was really bizarre because
I will give credit to the Flames, because they did come out flying, and kind of like Montreal last game, there wasn't a ton of space out there, at least early on, to make plays. So I agree. But I mean, in Montreal the other night, he looked great. He looked like rookie of the month, Tim Stützle. He just didn't have a point. But tonight he was struggling. So, and it's tough because every time he bobbles the puck or something, I'm like, it's because he has no tape on his stick. Right?
Really.
What a brutal tape job. But I mean, he'll figure it out. He'll bounce back, I'm sure. And this is where the coaching staff with the young players needs to get in their heads in a good way and just be like, guys, you know what, that's going to happen. So we'll see where they go from here.
It'll be really telling to see how he plays in our next game.
Yep. Agreed.
I'll go. This is a hard one because you took Timmy from me. I'll go Zaitsev, and that's just because he wasn't playing with Shabbat tonight, and that just the chemistry there has obviously worked. So I can't really add anybody else to that list, honestly.
I'd say Zaitsev. I'd say Zaitsev because Seattle's watching, and you need to keep playing better there, Nikita.
Yeah,
get really off the books. I got the rookie scoring pulled up.
Oh yeah.
So with points, Kaprizov has 17. Norris has 15 and Stützle has 14. Awesome. Goals, Kaprizov's got 6. Someone else Pius Suter on Chicago has 7. But it goes Kaprizov with 6, Velarde, good. Gabe Velarde with 6, and then Norris and Stützle both have 5. Kaprizov's got 11 assists. Norris has 10 assists. Stützle has 9. So they're right there.
They're right there, 100%.
Right there. And I agree. Norris needs to be in that discussion more. I think if he's here in another 15 games, he's still in that discussion, people will start to notice a little bit.
Yeah.
I find that I feel like another reason he's not in the discussion is because he's not as flashy.
I was just going to say,
I know he's solid. He does his job. He plays in a second power play unit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like
which is honestly more impressive that he's got this many points, though, that he's in the second unit.
Yeah, he's almost boring, which is a good thing because he doesn't screw anything up, really.
And I think with him, too, is he's got 5 goals. I can't think of like a nice one where he just beat the goalie. I think they've all been really like scrambly and.
Yeah, I don't know. His first career NHL goal was a nip along the ice under the pad.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff where it's he can beat like he's got a really nice shot. He got 30 goals last year as a rookie in Belleville. So, but regardless, if he doesn't even get named as a finalist for the Calder, good on him for even being up there as a rookie and scoring again.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of all we have to go through for this game. So thank you, everybody, for coming to watch, and we will see you on the next game.